Hey, happy Sunday. My name is Fitch, educational consultant from Chicago, Illinois. Listen, this is Breaking the Education Code Member Spotlight. Again, this is Breaking the Education Code Member Spotlight. Before we get started, do me a huge favor, guys. Just go ahead and click that share button right now. All right, just go ahead and click that share button. I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to click that share button. Again, this is Breaking the Education Code Member Spotlight. I have a phenomenal individual that is going to join our collaborative conversation today. Listen, let me just go through some of the accolades, just some of them, not the whole process, but just some of the accolades that she has definitely accomplished. Some of her achievements: 2019 Ironman World Championship finisher, right? 2019 Ironman 70.3 Augustus, fastest run split, right? Amateur woman. 2018 Ironman, 2017 Ironman, 2015 and 16 One City Marathon Women's Champion, right? And 2015 Dallas Marathon. Guess what? A marathon is 26.2 miles. She came in fourth place as a female. Phenomenal. Ironman All World Athlete, right? USA Triathlon All American. NCAA Track and Field All American. Someone that's phenomenal, that's doing some great things. As we're talking about, health and fitness and living a healthy life, right? I wanted to bring this person to the platform because she can inspire, right? She's an African-American woman out there that's doing some phenomenal things. And I want you guys just to hear her story. I'm going to bring her to the stream. Guys, brace yourselves. She's phenomenal. She has a great message, and you guys are going to enjoy this. I'm going to bring her right into the stream. Welcoming Miss Sika Henry. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing so. It's decent weather here in Chicago. Decent weather here in Chicago. We're about 75 degrees, give or take. So I'm enjoying myself. I can't complain about it. So, how's your day going? Tell us a little bit about your day.
So I actually stayed up a little too late last night watching, all the craziness going on the news and just trying to follow things. I was watching CNN, and before I knew it, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I slept in a little too late. So I got a late start to my day, but it's beautiful outside. So I went and I rode. I had about a 50-mile ride to do. So I grabbed my bike and I went out. Yeah, went out for a long ride and.
Wait. I don't mean to interject and cut you off. You rode your bike for 50 miles?
Yeah.
The beast. Listen, this is Sika Henry. She is our member spotlight as we talk about breaking the education code. She is a project manager, customer and marketing analytics. She's a competitive triathlete, and she's doing some phenomenal things, right? And I want you guys to hear her story. So we're going to get right into it. Who is Sika Henry?
I am as you mentioned before, I'm a triathlete. I also work a full-time job. I work for Ferguson Enterprises. I've been working there about 11 years now, actually. I have a background in economics. I went to school up in Massachusetts. I ran track and field in college for Tufts University. I was also a high jumper. And when I moved out here, I started getting into running. And before I knew it, I was doing marathons. And you also mentioned I've won the marathon out here 2 times. And then I started getting into the long distance triathlon stuff. So yeah, other than that, I'm a sister, a daughter. I'm really close to my family. And
That's beautiful, right? So, can you give us a little, some of my listeners, they're all educators, right? And I know as a, consultant, as an administrator, I implement this Biggest Losers Challenge once a year, at my school. We talk about weight loss, living a healthier lifestyle. And people always talk about eating the right things, right, as a way to lose a weight. But I don't think a lot of them know what it means, right? What does it mean to be a competitive triathlete? Can you just give them a little background regarding that?
Right, yeah, sure. So, I think being competitive is taking things to another level. When I first started, so I did track and field in college, right? But it was different. It was you're part of a team, and you had a coach there, telling you what to do, and you're like living this lifestyle. So that was one thing. I would say now things are a little different for me because I have to be very self-disciplined. I'm fitting a lifestyle in a competitive lifestyle with working a full-time job. So I think for me, it's a little different versus other pro athletes who might do that full-time, like that's their job. So in terms of competition, it's a year-round lifestyle. It's a daily thing. Before COVID, I was waking up before work and I was working with a strength conditioning coach. And then I would go to work, and then on my lunch break, luckily we have showers there, and I would go out for my run workout, which could be anything from, 5-mile tempo run up to, a 10, 12-mile long distance run. And then I get home in the evening and I'd usually go to the pool for a swim workout, or I'd hop on my bike for an hour and a half bike ride. And, it's day in and day out. The weekends you have competitions and you're flying or you're driving to places. So, yeah, it's just like it's on a whole other level. It's exhausting, but you have that one really great race that makes it all worth it. So yeah, I mean, there's just, like the ups and downs of trying to balance everything, but it's time consuming and it's not just a one and done thing. It's really like pushing yourself on a daily basis. It's a grind.
And something that you mentioned, and Sika, was the whole, it's worth it, right? But the time that you put into it, right? Can you just give us an example of a schedule? Like, let's just say you're in the middle of your training season, right? And tomorrow's Monday. Just giving us an example of Monday morning. How do you begin your training season?
Monday morning, I wake up at 5:30 and I meet I work with a strength conditioning coach. I started working with her last year. So I usually strength train with her, use body weight for about an hour, come home, shower, make some breakfast and head to the office. Or, I'm lucky enough to have a job where I can work remotely. So I'll work from home sometimes. So if I do, I go into the office and I work. I have meetings just like everybody else and projects that I have to do. And then around 11:30, I log off. I head over to the other building where the shower is. I change. I put my running clothes on. I head right out for my workout right over there. And then I come back. I shower. I eat my lunch at my desk. I work again from 12:30, 1 o'clock until about 5:30, and then I get off. I go to the bathroom, put my swim stuff on, head down to my car, drive over to the pool, swim, come home, shower, cook, usually turn, the news on, or if sports are on or something like that, watch that, and then just try to get to bed early. And it pretty much goes on like that all week. Usually I strength train twice a week. I usually hit up the pool 3 or 4 days a week, pre-COVID, obviously. And usually I run like 5 days a week and I bike about 5 days a week. So I actually do put in the most amount of hours in like long distance runs and stuff on the weekends. That's when things are, my volume is the heaviest.
That's great. That's great. You guys listen to that. And a lot of my followers too, they are marathon runners. And I know we have it seems like a basic running schedule compared to what you're doing. And we're like, we're exhausted. We're talking about strength training. We're talking about running, biking. We're even talking about swimming. I mean, it's a lot. And it just seems like, Sika, that's a job,
It is. And I didn't realize how different running, being a marathon and a triathlete, they're two completely different sports. They are not the same at all. Because I was just a marathoner before. And when I say just a marathoner, I know what goes into it. And it is a lot. Those 20-mile runs aren't fun. But triathlon is just something entirely different. It's a lot more time consuming, and it involves a lot more time because you're going to places, right? You usually a runner, you just put your sneakers on, you go out your front door. Or when you're a triathlete, you have to go drive to the pool. If you're a cyclist, where I live, it's not biker friendly. So I have to drive about 20 minutes away out to the country so I can ride safely on the road. So it's time consuming.
I got you. And listen, I was reading over some of your achievements and I noticed something. I want you to really talk to, the audience around this. African Americans making up only 0.5% of the sport. Why is that? Why is that? That's a small amount of African Americans.
Right. Yeah. When you think about a half a percentage point, I show up to triathlon, sprints, Olympic, Ironman, anything, and it's rare that I see somebody that looks like me. I do see some of us out there. We have groups. I'm part of the Black Triathletes Association, and the last half Ironman I did was actually in Augusta, and there was a large group there, so we cheer each other on. So it's great, but yeah, there aren't that many of us. And the question you asked about why. That's a loaded answer, and it's interesting given what's going on right now with racial tensions and race relations in the country right now. Part of the reason is the first leg of a triathlon, in case people are watching this and they don't know what it is, you swim first, then you bike, then you run. So the first leg of a triathlon is a swim. Well, about 70% of African Americans lack basic swimming skills. And a lot of that has to do with intergenerational racial, not discrepancies, but, we weren't allowed in public pools, back in the 50s, 60s. And so we would try to go over to lakes or something like that. There weren't lifeguards, and, children would drown, parents got scared. So they didn't learn how to swim. They told us to stay away from the water, and it just got passed on generation after generation. So, and then of course, having membership to pools and stuff like that, YMCA's, that can be expensive. We tend to gravitate towards sports that there's a very low cost to entry, like, basketball, football, stuff like that. So a sport like triathlon is expensive, and we make up a lower, we make up the lower income bracket. So, you don't find us going out to buy a really expensive road bike, stuff like that. So a lot of it has to do with racial differences.
I agree. I mean, you touched it. I don't even need to go in depth with it, but it's me when I was growing up, and I taught myself how to swim, right? But I was never, my family, we were raised pretty, poor, back in the day. So no one was talking about, memberships to the YMCA. Pretty much sports were outside. So if you want to play football, basketball, you can do that for free. But when you talk about going to a pool, it costs money, right? So you're absolutely right. So hopefully we can break those barriers. Now, in the midst of you, see, again, I've been watching, you've been doing some phenomenal things, right, as an athlete, right? Can you speak on some of your trials and tribulations? Because what we want to do is inspire our audience. They go through different things, but just talk about your trials and tribulations and how you were able to overcome that being a triathlete.
Right. So I grew up differently than what you just described. I'm very lucky in that I grew up with a big, large in-ground pool. So I grew up around water and swimming. My family and I traveled a lot to usually islands and stuff like that. So my upbringing, I'm blessed in that way that I had access to those things. But trials and tribulations probably happened more so later on in my life. As you know, I had that horrible crash last year. I was trying to turn professional in triathlon, which would have made me the first African American woman to do so. So I flew down to Texas, Galveston, Texas last year to compete in a half Ironman. And for those watching, it's a 1.2 mile swim, then a 56 mile bike ride, and then a half marathon run. So a 13.1 mile run. I was fit. I was ready. I'm always nervous, but I was confident. And I figured, let's give this a shot. And, my swim was okay. Got out the water. I got on my bike. Unfortunately, the roads were really crowded. I was behind a lot of slower people, and I was going over 25 miles per hour on my bike. A competitor in front of me didn't look. And you ride on the right, you pass on the left. They didn't look when they went to pass somebody, and they went directly into my line. I avoided them, but unfortunately I crashed. There was a cone barrier in the middle of the road that I crashed directly into, and it completely knocked me out. I woke up hours later in the hospital. I had no idea what happened. I thought I'd been in a car accident. I mean, my face was completely lacerated. You can actually see pictures of that. I made it public on my blog, which kind of went viral after my dad told me to. He's like, just post the pictures. My mother's like, no, they're too gruesome. But yeah, I had about 40 stitches to 6 sections of my face. I had road rash everywhere. I did a lot of infections. Had a concussion. I had a lot of mouth injuries. I had to have oral surgery. My teeth were loose. Luckily, they put a splint in that held my teeth in place, but I couldn't eat solid food for about a month. I flew from Texas up to New York. I stayed with my parents for weeks so they could take care of me, and I was going to like 3 different doctor's appointments on a daily basis. I did a lot of damage to my neck, so I couldn't turn my head right to left, up, down. It was crazy. But at the same time, somehow that crash, I didn't injure any major limbs. Like I didn't break a collarbone like most people do, or an arm or leg or anything. So I actually got back to working out pretty quickly.
That's good. And guys, like when she talks about the injury, the pictures, I'm telling you, I was viewing the pictures and my heart dropped. I was like, wow, right? So seeing Sika right now, I'm like, doesn't look like the Sika back in the day, back when, during the injury time. However,
Yeah.
you are a blessing, right? And you were able to overcome that obstacle. So I'm glad you're able to be a little bit transparent, talking about some of your injuries, right? And just trials and tribulations, right? No matter what circumstances you're going through, no matter what life throws you, you can always overcome it. And you're a true example of that. You're just so motivated, so inspiring. And I'm just humbled to even be here to have you on this platform. So I want to say that to you. Because you definitely have a message. Now, one of my fraternity brothers that I'm really close to, he is a Ironman guru. He enjoys it, right? And I never really knew women were part of the Ironman, legacy. So I just want you to talk about the Ironman legacy because listen, being a triathlete is one thing. Some of the training he does for Ironman is a whole nother level. Like I struggle, Sika, running marathons, trying to keep a weight, and trying to run consistently from 1 mile to 13 without stopping, right? And trying to keep a moderate pace. I'm noticing his work on Facebook and I'm like, Lord have mercy. How many 100 miles on the bike? Like when you talk about being an Ironman, just talk about that as a female competing, your experience as an Ironman.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. If people who say they enjoy it, I'm like, what is wrong with you? It's crazy to me. For the people who are doing this right now, it's a 2.4 mile swim, and then you ride 112 miles, and then you get off the bike and you run a marathon. So my specialty is actually, I know, and then you're just like this for the rest of the year. Yeah, my specialty is the half iron distance. I don't know if I'll ever do another full Ironman. So my Ironman experience last year was crazy because I was coming back from my injury, right? So about 2 months after, my crash, I'm seeing doctors and having surgeries and all this other stuff. I've broken my nose too. I forgot to mention that amongst all my injuries. So as you can see the pictures, and it was just, my face was completely destroyed. But I was desperate to come back. I still wanted to try to earn my pro card no matter what. And I'm happy I set that goal because that's what kept me going. That's what got me out of bed. That's what kept me from being depressed about, the way I looked and everything. And so 2 months after my crash, I found this race right outside of DC. It was just a sprint. And my mom came down and I'm like, Mom, do you think it's too soon for me to be doing this? She's like, 10 years is too soon for you to be doing this. She was so scared. So I did the race. I actually won it, my first race back, won for the women. And then in September, I did the half Ironman in Augusta. And then 2 weeks later, I did Kona. So my Ironman experience was at the Ironman World Championships in Hawaii. And it's just that course is a beast. The choppy water and the wind, the heat, the climb up to Hawaii, anything that you can think of, that course throws at you. So I think, as you know, as a marathoner, it's mental. So much of it is just like embracing the pain and like talking yourself through all of it and just trying to get to that next thing. So, when I'm swimming 2.4 miles, I'm not thinking about the marathon. I'm like, just get to dry land right? Like, and then once you get off the water, it's like, okay, just get to my bike and then, get to the next aid station. And then of course, probably around mile 80 of the bike leg, I was thinking, I can't do a marathon. Like, I just need to get off this bike. I'm done. Once I get there, hand my bike, I'm done. But then, you go in and out of, all right, well, I made it this far, let's try another mile. But literally when I got off my bike, they have a changing tent. So all the women go in one, the men go in the other. So you drop off your bike. So I swam 2.4 miles. I biked 112 miles. So I go in the tent and I found one of those white folding chairs and I just sat down. And one of the volunteers came over. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I mean, not really. I don't want to do this anymore. I need water. So she goes to get some water. She's like, "You need anything else?" Like, "Can I have some Gatorade?" I'm like, can I have somebody just come knock me out? But my dad was waiting outside the tent and I'm like, all right, he's going to get worried if I don't come out. So I eventually got myself out and, everybody's out there in the same brutal conditions and I'm not a quitter. And that's what I kept saying to myself. I'm like, I didn't make it this far to only come this far. And, before you know it, you're mile 20 of the marathon and you only have a 10K to go. So it was a beautiful, humbling experience.
That made me think about something, Sika. I was in Anchorage, Alaska last year, and it was for a marathon. And I remember getting to mile, I believe, 14, and I questioned, why am I doing this? And I don't think a lot of us out there have these thoughts, but I know I do. But it's one of those thoughts while you're running, you're like, you know what, this sucks. Why am I doing this? I'm hurting myself. It makes no sense. You get to mile 14 and you're like, okay, I got about 5 more miles here and then I can kind of pace myself. You mentally go through a whole, you're like talking to yourself, trying to motivate yourself and having a conversation. And people think you're crazy. I'm like, this is the only way that I can do this is having a collaborative conversation with myself. So definitely just you being able to inspire, going 100 miles on the bike, coming back, running a marathon. I mean, that is crazy, Sika. But this is the stuff that you've done that is inspiring to not just young ladies out there, young guys out there, right? It's just phenomenal, your platform. And I just want to say, man, keep going for it. It doesn't matter. Keep it because you're inspiring people. Like I'm listening to you and I'm like, whoa. And I'm just thinking Ironman is just something that you get a little tattoo on the back of your calf muscle. And it's like, hey, I completed an Ironman. Hearing your story, I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know about a half Ironman. They have a half of Ironman. Like, you gotta keep breaking that down in halves for me. I don't know about that, Sika.
Yeah. Well, part of it also for me is I put all my goals out there when I decided to go on this pro route. I mean, I could have kept it to myself, but instead I put it out there. Like, I want to try to go pro or well, as soon as 2 days after my injuries, I'm like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a half Ironman in September. I think that was like 5 months after my injury. So I like to hold myself accountable. I'm one of those people I like to put it out in the universe. There's nothing wrong with keeping your goals to yourself. You don't have to be public about them like me, but I like that, not pressure, but I like saying it. And even when I'm out there, I'm like, oh my God, I have told so many people and they're tracking me right now. So I need to get my butt across that finish line no matter what. I'm not going to embarrass myself out here and not finish. So we're not even
going to talk about the whole tracking when you can do it. Like, dude, you have no idea. My body is saying, no, it's locking up. The cramps are killing me. I have a Charlie horse. I can't do no more. I'm done. Right. That's great, man. You have a definitely have an inspiring story. So as we are going through, I don't want to call it Sika troubling times, right? I'm gonna call it times that we can come together, plot, strategize, restore the community. I think that's, even though I'm having this great, phenomenal, collaborative conversation, part of me right now is hurting because I'm noticing rioting outside of my city of Chicago. It's just a lot of stuff that's happening right now for unjust reasons, right? But as we go through these troubling times, we're talking about social justice issues, you're talking about police brutality, we're talking about just being treated as a human being, right? Using your platform, what is your ultimate goal and what legacy would you like to leave here, Sika?
I I think this year I've really realized how important getting involved in sports is, especially youth, how much it shaped my life. It's probably kept me out of trouble and it's kept me disciplined. I've learned so much about myself, other people, teamwork, stuff like that. So, I've learned the life-saving skill of swimming. So I told we were talking before we went live that I spoke at a couple of schools in the inner cities this year and elementary school children, and just seeing how innocent they are and how eager they are. I just hope that me sharing my stories and even my trials and tribulations and, coming back from accident and stuff like that, that it is inspirational to them. It's tough, like what you said, we are living in really difficult times. And even talking about the whole triathlon thing, when people ask about why the percentage is so small and why we can't swim and stuff like that, there's a reason behind these things. They didn't just, didn't slavery ended and then all of a sudden here we are, everybody's happy and everything's perfect. No, it's not like that at all. So the fact that it's 2020 and there hasn't been a pro woman on the start line at an Ironman is, crazy in this time. So I hope that, showing more diversity in a sport will encourage other people to get involved, that it's not just a white sport and, we don't need to just be a basketball player or a football player or be seen a certain way. We can, do other things as well. So I just hope that, me being out there publicly and sharing my stories, that it just inspires other people, I guess.
That's phenomenal. And everything that you talked about today, Sika, definitely inspired everyone that's listening, right? And I want you guys to make sure that you tune in and share this information. It's very critical. What Sika spoke about is critical, even when she talks about diversity, right? And how we welcome diversity, because that really makes America great, right? So we really need to take heed into that. Being in a diverse situation, making sure that we go through trials and tribulations and overcoming those different obstacles that Sika just talked about, so we can have a story. Sika, you are doing some phenomenal things out there. I want to thank you for coming on to this platform. I know you are busy. We appreciate you so much. For a lot of my listeners that want to, definitely connect with you, do you have a website or can they link with you social media wise?
Sure. Yep. I do have a website. It's sikahenry.com. So SIKAHENRY.com. You can find all my social media links there. I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram under my name, Sika Henry. You can follow me and I get messages and I try my best to respond to them. And, people ask questions like how you get started in the sport and stuff like that. And know that even though I'm talking about these crazy Ironmans and stuff, there are sprint triathlons. You can do a pool triathlon where you do the swim in a pool first and then you bike and then you run. So they're short. So it's not as extreme as what I'm describing. I know the YMCA does offer, I think it's up to first graders free swim lessons. I actually have to look up that. Somebody texted me that the other day. But if your kids can't swim, get them lessons, stuff like that. So yeah, you can connect with me. You can find me on my website and connect with me through Twitter. Trying to think what else I'm on. I'm pretty much on every social media platform you can think of. And I do blog as well. You can find that on my website.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, guys, she's doing some phenomenal things. Make sure that you definitely go to her website, look her up on Facebook, check out her blogs, important information. We are here to inspire each other. Remember, every single weekend on Sundays, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we make sure we highlight someone as a member spotlight. We focus on culture as well as curriculum, as well as instruction. And with Sika talking about diversity, that ties right into culture. So it's very critical that you guys share this information and just here to support us, right? To move us to another level. Thank you so much, Sika, for coming on today. We appreciate you. I'll make sure I leave you some information in your inbox regarding today. Guys, let's give Sika a round of applause. We appreciate you so much. And thank you so much for coming on. And I will definitely be in touch with you. Okay.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much, Sika. Listen, guys, it's critical, right? We make sure we highlight these individuals that's doing some phenomenal things. This triathlete here, aka Sika Henry, she's doing some great things. Being able to become the first, right? Being able to break all stereotypes, all barriers. She's doing some phenomenal things. Make sure that you add her on Facebook. Make sure you go to her website. You know, if you want feedback around working out, you know, just any tips and ideas, she'll make sure that she reaches back out to you. So please ensure that you tune in with that information. Make sure you share this to somebody out there, right? And if you have anybody that you want me to highlight as a member spotlight, please make sure that you inbox me or make sure that you go to my website at larueandfitch.com. Again, that is larueandfitch.com. I have my book out called Breaking the Education Code. It is an instructional guide for enhancing teacher capacity while increasing scholar achievement. Please make sure you go to my website to purchase this information. And everyone that we bring here to the platform, they have some sort of relation when you talk about the book, culture, curriculum, as well as instruction. You guys have a wonderful and safe Sunday evening. Do me a favor again, share this information. I'll see you first thing next weekend, Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a great one. Peace.